Anthony or do I call you Santino? Like, I'm never sure with you sometimes, man, because you swear Santino Marella is a real person because the way you portray him is such a great person, a great entertainer, and the kind of guy you want to hang out with. Like, I don't know who I want to hang out with more, you or him.
It's him. It's Santino. It's, when I meet people and they hear me speak with my regular voice, yeah, I laugh now, but the look of disappointment on their face is like it's funny. It's comical.
I gotta ask you right off the top, man, how are things going with you? Because we follow each other on social media. I know there's family in the business. I know your family is growing.
Yeah.
Your new job we're going to talk about, but also when it comes to the martial arts, you are very involved with this. Plus the fact, fitness, you look amazing, man. How are all these elements in your life going so far? And of course, a great wife.
Yeah. Well, man, COVID, right? It was like the greatest gift, honestly. Um, we were planning to move up north, just kind of tiny township near Wasaga, uh, like years from now, and it kind of sped up the process. So we moved up north in 2020, and it's been incredible. It was good for our fitness because we have a facility on our property. We didn't know if gyms were going to be open. I didn't know if Battle Arts was going to reopen. So yeah, and we train. I train every day now. A little smarter than I was before. Now it's kind of almost rehab. All those small muscles that kind of add up, like your glutes and your hip flexors and your core. It's not just like bench press and pull ups and stuff. Um, and then yeah, we have two little kids, 1 and 4, which is, I'm trying to soak up and absorb every single second because it goes so. I was talking to a friend of mine who has a newborn, and I'm like, people tell you it goes by quickly, but they don't tell you it's a matter of weeks. Like you can count like 4 times 6 is 24 weeks. And in 24 weeks, your baby, 24 weeks. And look how fast weeks come and go. The weekends here feels, we're just breezing through the weeks these days. So that's how fast the kids grow up, And my oldest daughter is 27, and she's living in Orlando doing her thing in NXT. And, you know, I was young. I was in university when I had her, and it was so fast. It was nobody prepared me like to just exactly how fast it is. It's crazy. So, yes, I definitely have slowed down, and I'm trying to absorb every moment.
Well, we've absorbed every moment when it comes to you. In fact, about a week ago, on my feed, the video popped up when we, as WWE fans, were introduced to you
Oh, right on.
in Italy when you came out from the crowd wearing those red shoes and shocked the world. Do you ever think about that moment? Because what a debut for any WWE superstar or any wrestler in general.
Yeah, it's funny. So it actually came up on my feed as well,
Probably the
and
same thing. Yeah.
yeah, and one thing I take pride in was my acting at the moment when Vince picks me, and I look
Mhm.
confused. I'm like, is he talking to me, like me, or the guy beside me? And everyone in the audience who's not in on it is like, no, he's talking to you. So I'm like, that moment there, that little moment of confusion is what got everybody. Like, is this really a fan? So because I talk to people, at conventions or shows, and they're like, "Man, we thought you were a guy coming out of the audience for like 10 years. We thought you legitimately came out of the audience." So it was a very unique debut, and talk about an absolute life changing moment. From that moment, I went backstage, and he's like, "Yeah, pack your bags. You're on the road, like from today." So there was, I had to adjust on the fly, adjust my entire life. All of a sudden, here, congratulations, you now live out of a suitcase, and and get ready. Here we go, and then 8 years straight on the road.
How were you able to balance your amazing work in the ring as a professional wrestler with comedy and never letting the comedy overshadow your abilities in the ring? Sometimes it happens to wrestlers where they're just looked at if they do the comedy stuff, they're just looked at comedy, period. You were able to balance too. I mean, the one eyebrow thing that you had, your sister, Cloudy, like all these great things that you did. How were you able to balance that so well? And the other thing I want to add in too, I think people forget you're an elite, like an elite athlete. You're legit as a shooter if you wanted to.
Yeah, yeah. So you have to show moments of brilliance. So, for example, Santino would do a beautiful judo throw and then have to give it up in a comedic way, you know. So there's this moment of brilliance, a moment of some technique, and then something, you know, comical to relinquish control of the match, you know. And I think that was the kind of formula that I ended up sticking with, and you got to show him a little bit, enough to make him say, I think he can really wrestle behind that facade, you know. But yeah, you know, not too serious, or else it's not Santino. So it was a delicate balance actually, and it was I think I was able to do it quite well.
And of course, the thing everybody remembers. And in fact, the last time I even saw you, we got to do this together. And I wish I had a glove to show what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
Cobra!
I'm trying
Where
to
did
think.
you get?
I may have one lying around. They're usually around the house somewhere. I have
How
one
did
in
you
my
come
back.
up with that?
Well, when I was living in Japan in '04, you know, I'm a young
Mhm.
guy trying to make it in the business and I don't know where to go. And we have one connection, and it's this little place called Battle Arts in Koshigaya, Japan. So I go there, and that was my life for that year. I was just training in the dojo. I had a little apartment, my little scooter, and I was even doing some acting extra work gigs, you know, to help pay the bills and stuff. And there was a guy, he was a gentleman named Taro, and I believe he was one of the partners of Battle Arts. And we were just sitting in, we were drinking in a bar, and he just showed me this thing where he transforms his arm into this puppet. And I didn't even get it. I remember looking at my buddy and go, I don't understand. What is that? He's like, no, it's just a funny thing he does, right? He just kind of transforms the arm, makes it like this whole little wooden puppet thing. And then fast forward, you know, 5 years down the road, I think it was 5 years, and I think it was Atlanta. I remember it was Atlanta, Georgia, at a live event, and I just said, "Hey," to John Cena, I go, "Watch my match. I'm going to try something funny." And the audience, without ever seeing it on TV, immediately laughed. The whole audience laughed at this. It was in my comeback, so I'm doing like jab, 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 transform the arm, strike into like a schoolboy. And I came back, and he's like, "Yeah, I would keep that if I were you." And then we just did it. I only did it on live events, because live events you have some creative freedom, right?
Yeah.
And then one day I go to Raw, and I remember I think it was facing Zack Ryder, and it was Ricky Steamboat is my producer. He's like, "Yeah, you know, you're going over, and Vince wants to see the Cobra." And I'm like, "Vince knows about the Cobra?" And he goes, "Yeah, he gets the reports from the live events, and he wants to see it." And I was like, "Okay." And then after doing it on TV, I swear, like in 3 weeks, I would gesture that it's coming up. And people would like jump. I'd see in my peripheral vision people jumping out of their seats. Like I'm like, really? Okay. I mean, they loved it. I can't. But recently I had a guy. He was like in his 20s, and he's
Mhm.
like, it was a convention. He goes, "Hey, I want to let you know something. When I was in like grade 4, the Cobra had to be banned from my school." Because he goes, everyone was doing the Cobra at recess to one another, and I'm like, wow, I made it. You know, if the Cobra's banned from your school, I made it.
See, when I was younger, it was the sleeper hold everybody did or the figure four. Now
Yeah.
today, it's the Cobra. I absolutely love that. But um, there's so much I want to talk to you about, and I'm gonna get into it, but I think I should get to the most important thing because you, my friend, as I was watching a certain wrestling organization that I enjoy watching, I got the surprise of my life and I cheered when I saw this. And you were involved. You have a new job somewhere else, my friend. What's going on?
Yeah, you know, so I'm friends with Scott Demore, right? We're buddies. He's an Ontario guy, I'm an Ontario guy, and he would come down to Destiny shows, and I would my buddy George Eitzman, who owned a Destiny, and the shows. So Battle Arts Academy, the facility I opened in 2013, it's also a venue. So other companies rent out the venue, put on their shows. And so Destiny was one of the companies that would put on their shows there. So, we just made a friendship. And I had these ideas back in the day of, I wanted to be a Canadian developmental territory. Originally was with WWE. And, so I was establishing this network of different guys and cities. And we have London and Kitchener and Oshawa and Hamilton. And to kind of make this potential loop for a Canadian developmental territory. So, but by trying to do that, I became good friends with Scott. And we talked over the years a little bit about potentially doing something, but it just wasn't the right time. My youngest daughter is 1, and my son is 4, and I'm not just gonna. Okay, we have kids. Yeah. Okay. See ya. I'm gonna go back on the road, right? So now my son's in JK, and my wife can handle the menace. The menace is the 1-year-old Milena. She's a tough one, man. She's crazy, but and timing, timing's everything. Timing is really everything. And 2023, I had intentions of. I didn't think it was going to be this early in the year, um, but here we are, man. And he made the call, and I said, yeah, you know what, the schedule fits. The thing I was worried about is, like, it took me all these years in my life to kind of have this dream setup where I'm like, okay, business is good. We live in this incredible neighborhood by the beach, by the farms, and everything. Got these little kids. Everything's good. Like, I almost don't want to mess with it. I don't want to mess with it. And this is the least impactful, no pun intended, um, with regards to messing with this setup that I have. So the schedule is mostly once a month, and every once in a while it's twice a month. And I'm like, I can totally do that. So I'm still coaching, two locations, one week, 1 day per week each location. Still, helping with the kids as much as I can, and working on my own fitness, and just trying to, in the wintertime, I go skiing, cross country, downhill. In the summer, we're at the beach every day. We back onto like hundreds of acres, and we're just really outdoor enthusiasts, and bike riding and kayaking, and it's an incredible life that we have up here. And yeah, I just didn't want to mess with it so much. So it fits in perfect. And the beauty of it is, so Scott Demore, as a habit, he's brilliant. As a habit, when he has former WWE guys, he checks the trademarks. And in 2021, they didn't renew it, so he jumped on it. He got it, and so what? Yeah, so I'm Santino Marella, which is crazy. So people were talking, oh, Santino debuted for Impact, but it was the fact that when I said my name, I am Santino Marella. Everyone's like, whoa, how do you say it? Like, how is that possible? He's Santino Marella. So that was almost bigger news than the fact that I debuted, was I was able to use the name. And it was nice to actually say the name. That moment when I said, allow myself to introduce myself. My name is, and like, what's he going to use? Is it going to be Saint Tino? Is it going to be Sam Tino? It was Santino Marella, and everyone was like, whoa. I know, it was a pretty cool moment. And it's just, I was kind of over being Santino years ago. I wanted to be myself again. Like, the whole world doesn't, I was like, less than 1% of people that know me knew me as Anthony. I like being Anthony. Anthony was a good guy. And all of a sudden, I was, and Santino was a bit goofy and stuff too. I just wanted to be myself a little bit. And I was, and it was great. And so anyway, the fact that I haven't been Santino for so long, because when I do commentary or I was on Sportsnet, I was Anthony. So I've been Anthony for 6 years now. Yeah, 6 years. So it's fun again. It's actually fun again to be Santino, to mess up people's names. And I'm already working on how I'm going to mess up different names. And yeah, it was just awesome. It was great. I'm on the road again in a couple of days to go to Orlando for a couple TV tapings, where I'll stop in and see my daughter. And just going to Pearson is like returning home. Like, I was in Pearson every week for years and years and years and years. That's like where I go to work. If I bring my kids to the airport, I'm like, here, this is where daddy works. It's the airport. So no, it's actually I had to learn how to pack again. I was so good at packing before because you live out of a suitcase, and I was staring at my bag like on the way there, like did I forget anything? It's a skill, right? To make you want to pack as little as possible without not having anything. I mean, without not missing anything. So I was a hoodie short. I could have used a hoodie, but they gave them out at the show, so I got one.
So, what exactly is Santino Marella's position in Impact? Because it's a very important position.
Yeah, I am the director of authority. So, general manager or commissioner or something like that. So it's great because I get to interject and create stipulations, create matches, and I will wrestle probably, let's say quarterly, once every few months. I'll get in there and do a little tag match or something like that. I don't think I'd be able to do more than that with my body and my back and my neck and stuff. But I can get out there once in a while and have a match for sure.
Because I was going to ask, will there be a conflict with Bully Ray because he seems to be the big lion in the den right now?
Yeah, I hope not, because he is a big guy and he is a big, strong guy. Um, yeah, I know. I kind of made a little enemy there, but that's okay. I'll make it a tag match and let the other guy take the beating.
Well, it. Here's the thing: I kept thinking to myself, why didn't anybody else like? Why did the WWE approach you on this, or even AEW? Why did they approach you for something like this? Because to me, you're perfect for this. Listen to me. You're perfect for something like this.
Well, when my neck, so I had surgery in 2014. I had two surgeries. I guess it was, I don't know if it was a botch, but they put 6 titanium screws in my neck with the titanium piece, and 2 of the screws came out. So they loosened. So they had to go back in and take out the titanium. So, they gave me a little extra time to recover, and just got to the point where I'm like, I don't think I'm going to be able to wrestle anymore. Like every time I thought I was progressing, something would happen where I'd slip and like, oh, I get like a jolt, right? And go, oh, damn, it's not getting there. So I thought I was going to do something non-physical, like a GM. To be honest, that was the plan. And then they just opted to not renew the contract, which was a blessing in disguise because I was able to then completely focus on Battle Arts Academy, and it needed me there. It needed me to be there. Um, yeah, I just I don't know. I wasn't interested really in going back on the road. I couldn't even fathom being on the road again, especially like every week. And then there were talks. So I was going down to the PC quarterly and coaching. I like being involved. I'm a coach here. We do some indie events, and so I never really left wrestling per se. But even still, I talked to WWE. I recently did some stuff with it was a Randy Orton documentary thing. Talking, I rode with Randy for a number of years, and I said, look, when my daughter gets called up, I want to do something with her in the ring at whatever capacity it's going to be. And even when I talked to Scott Demore, I just let him know when my daughter gets called up, I'd like to go do something. So he's totally cool with that. I'm even doing something with NWA at the end of the month, and yeah, they're really flexible, and it's the thing that fit. It fit. The timing was right. And it's fun again, man. It's awesome.
If AEW ever came to you and approached you with something, would you think you'd like to go over there and do some things? I mean, you've got your contract now with Impact, but would you ever think of wanting to do something with them?
Well, I've been to a couple of AEW shows, and it's just a reunion for me. There's so many guys. I walk in there, Mark Henry, Big Show, Regal, and all the talent that's there. Punk, Daniel Bryan. I mean, Sean Spears. The list is like it goes on and on. So I'd feel really comfortable there. Um, if I talked to Scott and said, let's say it was something that was short, they wanted me to do something for 2 months.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Scott would be cool with that. But to pack up and jump ship, I don't think I'd be interested in that.
No, I love what you're doing right now. I can't wait to see some of the great things that are going to happen. I'm just curious. I've never asked you this. Where did you get the name Santino Marella? Because it's a perfect name for you.
Well, Marella is a tribute to Gorilla Monsoon and Joey Marella, the Marella family, and I knew that right away when they said your name is Santino Marella. I go, oh man, that's Gorilla Monsoon's last name. Like talk about extra pressure. But Santino, it was Ed Koskey who told me, I believe. It was just from The Godfather. They just picked a name from the Godfather movie. But it's funny because it's a cool name, right? Santino. And I met someone once and they're like, "What's your name?" And I'm like, "Santino." And they go, "Oh, that sounds so cool." And then like, "What's your real name?" I go, "Anthony." She's like, "Nah, I like Santino better." I was
Okay,
like,
there are a
"Okay."
couple of things I gotta ask you about because we got to talk about very quickly the state of wrestling and things like that.
Yeah.
But I'm just curious, and let's just say a certain person who has a podcast who you had a certain
Yeah.
disagreement with.
Yeah.
I wanted to know how things are going with that, and you know who I'm talking about
Oh,
because
yeah.
they, of course, call him the Louisville Lip from time to time, and some other names too.
Yeah. I don't, I have no problem with him, you know. Um, so obviously, what was 2005? It was
Yeah.
my first day at TV ever. And I'm sitting in the audience with my daughter, and the boogeyman turns to my daughter. I didn't know that we were sitting in front of the emergency exit, in which he was going to exit through that door. So he turns to us, and I sit back and go, "Oh, this is going to be good. He's going to scare my daughter, and it's going to give her a core memory, right?" And because I sat back and crossed my arms, he thought I was laughing at the boogeyman, or like. So he freaked out and slapped me, and it's like a well-known event and stuff.
Yes.
And but that was it. I never really met him, and I never really had my thing as a student of the game. I wanted to learn from him.
But
And
the thing is, and sorry to interrupt you, but the thing is, from what I've heard, and I think you even said it too, you did run into him again and called him out,
oh
didn't you?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So for years and years, that was it. It was just that was it, right? And
Mhm.
then when I had my neck surgery, I think it was I don't know if it was my first or my second. Like immediately after, I'm still in bandages, and my phone was going off. This guy Josh, my buddy, he used to be my neighbor in Louisville, and it's like missed call, voice message, text message saying, "Dude, I am so sorry. I didn't know he was going to do that." I'm like, "What?" And then all of a sudden he calls again, and I answer. He's like, "Dude, I'm so sorry. I didn't know he was going to do that." And I'm like, "What were you talking about? You didn't hear the message?" I said, "No." He goes, "Okay, listen to the message and I'll call you back, whatever." So it's a message. I guess Josh went up to him at a convention and said, "Did you hear Santino had neck surgery? He may have to retire." He goes, "Oh, really? Oh, wow." He goes, "You know him?" He goes, "Yeah, he's my buddy." He goes, "You have his number?" He goes, call him. So my buddy Josh, he's nice guy, right? But wouldn't think anything bad was going to happen. Calls me, and Cornette goes, "Give me the phone," and then proceeds to cut a promo, like, "You should never have been there, and you're a joke, and this and that." And I'm still in bandages. I mean, I just came out of
Yeah.
surgery, and I'm like, the first one, he got away with it. The second one, like, what a scumbag, real genuine, like, bottom feeder scumbag. And so anyway, but I still didn't even tell anybody. And then when I did those shoot interviews,
Yes.
so I did a shoot interview when I retired from WWE, and I mentioned it for the first time. And then some guy who listened to the interview messaged him and said, he said "I'm going to shit on your grave when you die if what Santino said is true." So anyway, so Cornette listened to the interview and denied it, just straight denied it. And then years again went by, and then there was a convention in Detroit, and Scott Demore, he didn't know the history with me and Cornette,
Mhm.
and it was not even really a history. It was like two events. Like I don't
Yeah.
even know the guy well enough, right? But anyway, he's like, "Oh, my friend's having a convention. He needs somebody. Would you go? This guy's going to be there. This guy's going to be there." He goes, "Cornette's going to be there." I'll go. "Cornette's going to be there." All right, I'll go. And but my intention was to go, extend my hand, have a chuckle over everything, put it behind
Mhm.
us.
Yeah.
He's friends with my most influential coach, Rip Rogers. He's friends with Al Snow, another coach of mine. We have a lot of mutual friends. So and he's one of the boys. He's been around forever. I think we can have a laugh and put it behind us. So I go there, and he's not. He knows I'm there. He's not looking at me at all. And then I'm walking in the hallway in the convention center. Like, I just went to the bathroom, and there's like nobody there. in the hallway, and he just boom, the door opens, he's walking out, and I remember going, okay, here we go, and I have a smirk on my face, and I go, hey, Mr. Cornette, Anthony Corelli, nice to meet you, and he proceeds to cut this promo again on me in person and tries to walk away. I go, whoa, whoa, whoa. I go, after all these years, it's not going to go down like that. Like, I don't know who you thought I was based on our first interaction, but I'm not a punk. I'm not that kind of guy you're going to punk off and just walk off. And I said, I came here to shake hands, and we had a little conversation. And then I said, but I'm willing to go anywhere you want to go. Like, you're not, you know, gonna alpha me in this situation, right? And that's when by that time people got their phones out and they saw me kind of cut him off a little bit. And you know what? At the end of the day, he backed off, he cowered, he called for help, and I was like, you know what? Beautiful, case closed. Got closure. It's done. And he probably still shoots his mouth off because it's a complete case of trying to remain relevant and all that kind of stuff. And I have no hard feelings because I don't carry around that kind of resentment. It's too heavy of a burden to carry.
Well, thanks for explaining that. And I do listen to Jim's podcast,
I
and I
like what
do
he has to
enjoy it.
say.
And I think a lot of times he is bang on in the industry, which I want to
Yeah,
talk quickly to you
I
about
agree with him
too.
most of the time. That's the worst part.
Yeah, I mean, what is going on with this? Is the WWE going to be on, for sale? Saudi Arabia, are they involved? You hear that the Khan family from AEW it wants to buy it. Vince McMahon first he's out because of what he was doing personally. Then he's back. The daughter, Stephanie is the CEO. Then she's not. Triple H is trying to tell everybody, hey, I'm still in charge of creative. But the last thing I just heard is Vince may also now come back as a TV personality. Like every
Yeah.
day it's changing. I don't know who's writing the movie script, but they're scribbling it out every 2 seconds, going, okay, rewrite this and rewrite that. Like, what do you think about all this?
Yeah, it's you know what? It's so many moving parts. Like one, I think Vince is like he's like my idol. I love Vince beyond belief in terms of his work ethic, his intelligence, his discipline. I mean, his formal knowledge, his gut instinct, everything. I love it. But also Triple H, he's incredible. This guy came from being a wrestler, and he's succeeding in the corporate world, and the transition it's incredible when you look at it. The entire McMahon family is brilliant. I think Linda's the smartest, to be honest. She's like, when you have a conversation with Linda, you walk away feeling like you're smarter. She's just amazing. Um, and then there's the sale, and then there's this environment of cancel culture, and he did something wrong and he has to go. He doesn't have to go anywhere. And the whole idea of appeasing the masses of people that they're coming to your show anyway, I don't get it. He never should have left if that was the reason he left. um, the programming is going to be good. The end result is that still going to be awesome content. I guess it's a wait and see game, right? Nobody really knows where it's going to go, if it's for sale, and if it is for sale, hopefully it's something like the UFC where it's sold, but nothing really changes. You know, that's the dream situation. But I mean, I don't understand the like. So, for example, like, does he want to just look at his bank account one last time and say, you know, there it is, 7 billion, you made it, or whatever it is, and it doesn't it doesn't change anything from a
You
day to
know,
day basis.
you, one thing, and I know we only have a couple of minutes left, but one thing that I loved when I listened to Jim Cornette's podcast, he explained how the what's it called again? Basically, how the McMahon family is in charge and uncharged, and how no matter what, the McMahon family itself will always be in charge, even if Vince isn't around or Stephanie. Somehow, some way, the McMahon clan will always have some kind of say in the organization, even if it's sold.
Absolutely. I think to relinquish all creative control would never happen. I imagine there's a
No.
setup similar to the one behind you with Vince at home. Even if he's at home, he's watching everything in real time.
Yeah.
Um, and rightfully so. He created it. It's his baby. And Man, yeah, it's not easy to let go. I have partners now, which I never had before at Battle Arts, and I had to learn how to let go a little bit, and it's not easy, right? I was the only decision maker before, and all of a sudden you have to discuss with others, and it's yeah. But I don't think he will be able to do that. I mean, he has to a certain extent. People are giving input. There's writers, there's directors, but to step back and not even have any say of what's going on, man, it's hard to do. And I don't even want him to do that. I want him to be there.
Especially when you come up with a sale that could be worth billions. Yeah, Vince is going to make sure his fingers are going to be involved with that. Look, my friend, we only got a couple of more minutes before we go. Santino Marella, your new position. What do you want to say to fans, not just in Impact Wrestling, but in all of professional wrestling? What do you want to say about your new position and what we can expect?
Yeah, you know what? The locker room over at Impact is incredible. They pride themselves on their in-ring work and their work rate and their drive. If I can get any new eyes on the product, um, it's a win-win. It's a win for the product to have more viewers, but you're going to enjoy it. It, man, it's fun. The locker room is awesome. Um, there's really an incredible atmosphere there, and I'm happy to be Santino again. So there's a lot of comedy in store. We did some stuff for the next few weeks in TV, and I mean the outtakes are hilarious because it's funny. It's really funny stuff. And again, I'm going to try and continue my streak of popping other wrestlers, whether it's live or not. That's my goal. I think when you watch Saturday Night Live. Sorry, my cauliflower ear keeps pushing out my earbud. When you watch Saturday Night Live and they pop and crack, that's the funniest part of the show. So I try and do that all the time. I try and pop and crack everybody, especially live on TV. And it's funny because guys are nervous, like, oh man, we're going live and he's going to make me laugh, and so it's funny to watch.
Okay, well, hold on here. That was Anthony. I just heard from. I want to hear from Santino Marella and his new position.
Oh, okay. Let me see now. I got to think here. As director of authority, if you have a brain in your head, I would tune into Impact Wrestling as soon as you can.
My God, I miss him so much, man. Look, brother, I gotta say, it's always a pleasure speaking with you. Thank you so much for the past interviews. Be invited down to your facilities too. I remember we were doing a great interview. One quick question before we go.
Yes.
As we speak right now, WrestleMania. Well, first off, Royal Rumble, who do you think is going to take it for the men and women? And WrestleMania, who do you think is going to be the big main event? Is The Rock going to come back?
I hear about The Rock and Roman, and that would be incredible for Roman. To the WWE universe, I wonder how that's going to be because it's he's already super on top, and like you can't make him really more on top. It'd be great to see The Rock. I'm sure his agents and his people are freaking out if he has to wrestle because that's he's an industry. He is an industry. For the Rumble, you got to have eyes on Cody, man. Cody, I heard he's coming back for the Rumble. So let's see what he's gonna do. He's so passionate about the business. He's gonna give it everything. Yeah. I'm not gonna be there. I know there was some speculation, but I'm not gonna be there. And then I just want my daughter to keep. She had ACL surgery 3 months ago, so I look forward to going to maybe next year's Rumble to support baby B, and it's just so much more fun to sit back and watch your children have success, and it's even more fun than having success yourself, honestly.
Yeah.
So it's next generation. And the cool thing is that my daughter watched me when she was in school, right? Her dad was on TV, but now my son Marco, he's gonna be watching his sister, and go to school, and people are like, you're Ariana Grace's brother? No way, that kind of thing. So it lives on. The generation lives on.
It definitely does. My friend, thank you so much for the interview. Thank you for the entertainment on television and continuous success in everything you do. You are a perfect example on where good things happen to good people. Thank you so
Oh,
much.
thank you, man. I actually got to go down to Mississauga right now. Damian Sandow's in town. He's guest coaching at the PC. The
Oh,
PC. Oh my
fantastic.
God, at Battle Arts. Sorry, we're going to implement a curriculum like the PC where we have guest coaches this year. So he's guest coach for at least a month.
I love it, man. I just got shivers when you said that. That's why I am wrestling fan from day one to the end of days. Will always be, and you're a big reason why for it. Thank you again, my friend.
Oh, thank you. You know what? There's a Destiny show on the 29th, I think. Hold on, let me just confirm that. Uh, 29th of January. So if you're free, it's a Sunday. Come on down.
I'm there.
Okay,
Thanks,
awesome.
brother.
Okay, take care.